Heya Cryptozens. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is October 23rd, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus, and I'll be your host as we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. The scammers are at it again. This time, it's Gate.io users that are in jeopardy because there's a fake website promoting a giveaway that doesn't exist. And so they're asking users at this website to connect their hot wallet to claim some 500,000 tether that's supposed to be giving away. So what happened is the hackers took over the exchange's official account. And keep in mind, this account has over 1 million users following it. And so once they took over this account, they changed the profile's URL from Gate.io. Now, clicking on that link actually takes you to a fake website made to look like the real thing. And that's when you see their hook. It says, giveaway, $500,000 USDT, and connect your wallet to participate in our giveaway. The first 1,000 winners get 500 USDT each. So that's the greed factor, right? That's how these guys are so successful, because they count on the natural human desire to get ahead, to get something for nothing. People that think they're smarter or luckier or better than their fellows, so they can and should get a little extra. So when the scammers appeal to their greed, they trap a lot of people in that way. Warning came by way of a tweet from PeckShield. Now, PeckShield has long been respected. And so it was that they sent out a tweet about the phishing site as well as the risk of losing your private keys. They said, quote, seems like crypto exchange Gate.io's verified Twitter account was compromised and has been used to share links to fraudulent USDT giveaway. Gate.com is the phishing site. And it's really not even Gate.com either. The A has an accent on the bottom of it, so it's there to fool you like that. Now, since that time, Gate.io has confirmed the attack. They said that they've alerted their users as well as putting up a post about the scam. They said, quote, we were made aware as soon as it happened. We have put out a notice and the account was locked down soon after being compromised. Which, this really isn't just a Web3 thing. This really isn't even a crypto story in a way. Because fake URLs have been around a long time. And people by now should know to look before they click. And even once you've clicked, make sure you ended up where you wanted to go. Make sure you know what page you're on before you're exposing your wallet to potential scumbaggery. Now, if you can't swear what website you're on, don't take that chance with your wallet. Now, going from one security warning to another, let's take a look at 3Commas. Now, 3Commas is an automated crypto trading bot provider, and they put out the word that they found certain FTX API keys were being used to facilitate some unauthorized trading on the exchange. So 3Commas and FTX, they've been working this investigation together in response to reports from users that there had been unauthorized trades in the DMG trading pairs. And what they found was that the hackers had used new 3Commas accounts to execute those trades. They also said that the API keys involved came from outside the 3Commas platform. So what they found was, much like the Gate.io story, there were websites masquerading as 3Commas sites. And those fraudulent sites were being used to fish out the API keys from users who connected their FTX accounts. And those were the keys used in the fraudulent trading. Now, what 3Commas is saying is, they think the hackers used third-party browser extensions and malware to steal those API keys. They said, quote, to reiterate and clarify, there has been no breach of either 3Commas account security databases or API keys. This is an issue that has affected multiple users who have never been customers of 3Commas, so there's no possibility that it is a leak of API keys originating from 3Commas. Now, so far, FTX and 3Commas have identified some suspicious accounts and suspended those API keys. 3Commas has released a set of guidelines to help people keep their accounts secure. And a lot of it's the typical suggestions that you see. Enabling two-factor authentication. Don't share or save your passwords or API keys. Don't store them on the cloud. Don't use the search engine results to go to a login screen. Type in the address yourself and bookmark it. And their last suggestion is regular virus and malware scans. So if you're an FTX user and you get a message that your API is invalid or needs to be updated, you're going to need to make a new API keys. In such a case, they said, quote, "It is possible your API details were compromised and the API key has been deleted by FTX. So what you can do is create the new API key on FTX and then link that to your 3Commas account to avoid trade disruptions." Now, as far as the victims go, 3Commas was working with the victims to render aid and gather information about the hackers. So if you're in the United States, as I am, you are currently being bombarded. Pumpkin spice latte flavored everything. But in addition to PSL infusing everything, we're in the depths of political ad season. Now, speaking of FTX, according to CNBC, Sam Bankman-Fried's super PACs, Web3 Forward, and Crypto Innovation are planning on dropping six figures on advertising. Political ads ahead of the midterm elections. This final push is expected to begin in a couple of weeks. The two PACs reported a total of over $8 million in funding at the end of September. Now, primarily, that comes from GMI PAC, and that is a project being led by Ryan Salame. He is the head of FTX Digital Markets. So they've taken in more than $11 million from donors, and that list includes SBF, of course, as well as Circle, Paradigm, and A16Z. In addition, Anthony Scaramucci's Skybridge Capital donated a total of $200,000 to Crypto Innovation. Now, staying on the topic of elections, let's take a look at the UK, because they're in the process of selecting a new prime minister. One candidate is Penny Mordaunt, another is Boris Johnson. Now, one candidate I find to be interesting is Rishi Sunak. Now, remember, he was in the running after Boris resigned. It came down to Sunak and Liz Truss. Well, Truss, she won, and then she made it less than 2 months, which makes me think that Sunak should be a really strong candidate, even though last time it wasn't all that close, with Truss coming in at 57% of the votes compared to Sunak's 43%. Now, apparently, I'm not the only one to think that way, because the former chancellor has taken an early lead for the top slot. He's gotten the backing of at least 100 Tory members of parliament, so that means he's on the ballot. That is, if he declares he's running. Now, Sunak is at least crypto curious. When he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, he laid out plans to make UK a crypto hub. That's what he called it. He made plans for the Royal Mint to launch an NFT. And he also started the process to get stablecoins recognized as a form of payment in the UK. And while not exhaustive or complete by any means, these measures were important because it comes in the middle of crypto-related confusion. The registration process was conducted through the existing rules in the Financial Conduct Authority, and that process caused a number of firms to just leave the UK market. Losses include Blockchain.com and Wirex. Now, since there are a total of 357 Conservative members of Parliament, that means there will only be 3 candidates that make it to the next round, which could resolve itself as early as Monday. Now, given that, I think the likely candidates are going to be Johnson, Mordaunt, and we know Sunak has already secured his place on the ballot. So really, nothing much in Johnson's history makes me think that crypto is a big priority of his. Now, same thing for Penny. She met with the president of the Texas Blockchain Association last April, but I don't know that she's really expressed much of an opinion on crypto either way. Now, right now, as far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ATMs go, the United States is in the lead. Canada's in second, and El Salvador has 212 crypto ATMs. And that was good enough to put the small South American nation in third place. It was. Now, third place belongs in Europe, specifically in the country of Spain. Because with a count of 215 crypto ATMs, Spain claims third place from El Salvador. Coin ATM Radar indicates that Spain accounts for 0.6% of global crypto ATMs. This also means that Spain is in first place in Europe. Spain represents almost 15% of all installations in Europe. Now from Spain, let's talk about Kazakhstan and another third place stat. Because for the last year, Kazakhstan has held on to third place in terms of Bitcoin mining. This is after passing up Russia in February of 2021. So last year, Kazakhstan contributed 13.22% of the total Bitcoin hash rate. That puts them behind the US at 37.84% and China at 21.11%. Kazakhstan is an oil-rich nation, and that means cheap fuel for Bitcoin mining. Kazakhstan was one of the first countries to open their doors to displaced Chinese Bitcoin miners after the Chinese government banned Bitcoin and crypto mining and trading. Now at present, Kazakhstan is looking at a way to legalize the turning in of cryptocurrency into fiat. Kazakhstan President Tokayev was speaking at Digital Bridge 2022, and he spoke of his vision that Kazakhstan becomes a leader in digital assets, cryptocurrency, and mining. He said, quote, "We are ready to go further. If this financial instrument shows its further relevance and security, it will certainly receive full legal recognition." Now, this is all happening while some exchanges are knowingly taking on Russian nationals, albeit with restrictions. As we reported on this show, last year, Kazakhstan had the first regulated fiat-to-crypto purchase by a commercial bank. So this involved the local bank, the Eurasian Bank, as well as the exchange called Intebex. Now, Intebex lets people buy crypto using the local fiat currency. Talgat Dosanev is Intebex's co-founder and CEO, and he said Intebex works with more than just Kazakhstani citizens. They're also willing to take on foreign clients. That said, you can only get access to the exchange if you are a card holder at one of the local banks. He said, quote, "Although foreign nationals are more than welcome at Intebex, they will need a local bank card to enjoy the crypto to fiat transactions." And there's a reason for that. Because Intebex will only handle crypto transactions for verified clients, meaning it's the responsibility of each bank to check the client out and make sure they're not on the sanction list. Dosanov said, quote, "Russian nationals who are not in sanctions lists are welcome at the Intebex, although they will need to pass a deep compliance check and open an account in a local bank to enjoy the crypto to fiat transactions." As it stands, some 200,000 Russians have fled to Kazakhstan, whether it's to escape the fact that their country is under economic sanctioning, or if it's to avoid being forced to fight in Ukraine. Russians have been pouring into Kazakhstan and bringing their crypto with them. This is after the major banks in Kazakhstan unhooked themselves from Russia's payment system, Mir, as well as some banks refusing transactions from even local branches of major Russian banks. Now, even though they're willing to take on Russian nationals, they said that they're still following the rules as far as sanctions go. Dosanov said, quote, "Since we are regulated exchange, we have to comply with the requirements set by our regulators. We constantly monitor the situation to make sure we operate within the regulatory framework." And finally tonight, let's travel to the land of the rising sun. I'm talking about Japan, because one of their self-regulated organizations, or SRO, has been busy making things better for the entire Japanese crypto industry, because the Japan Virtual Currency Exchange Association, or JVCEA, is simplifying the screening process for new tokens to appear on local exchanges. Having already been approved of by Japan's Financial Services Agency, these rules go into effect in December. Now, keep in mind, they're just simplifying the process, and it needs it, because 1 year ago, more than 80 assets were stuck in their review process. Only 5 were getting reviewed every month. Even blue chips like Bitcoin or Ethereum could take more than a month to get listed on an exchange. So these tokens will still have to get screened. However, it's hoped that this will, in part, help stem the brain drain out of Japan, especially given that startups are already burdened by heavy corporate taxes, and now they've got to contend with a difficult token listing process. Now, this is something that we've talked about before. The JVCEA will still be vetting tokens before they get listed on the local exchange. Now, currently, the rule of thumb is 3. If a token has been listed on at least 3 exchanges, then they don't have to go through a lengthy pre-screening process. However, if they're on less than 3 exchanges, then that whole process needs to happen. So this change reduces that number from 3 to 1. If the asset has been listed on 1 exchange, then they don't have to go through the process again. The assumption is that each crypto exchange is going to be responsible for doing their own research. Now, this change only applies to tokens that have been listed on a Japanese exchange. It does not count for foreign exchanges. Now, reportedly, the JVCEA is planning on clarifying accounting standards for crypto, as well as taking a look at deciding how to conduct audits. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. We'll see you tomorrow night.